3, 2, 1, go.
Thrusters, chest-to-bar pull-ups. A new spin on the quintessential CrossFit workout made a dreaded appearance as the last workout of the 2012 Open. The fittest on earth threw down with 68,000 people worldwide for the last time as the Open came to a close. News, stats, facts, and figures. The CrossFit Games Update Show is next. Hello CrossFit and welcome to the CrossFit Games Update Show. All good things must come to an end eventually, and it has been great, but I feel like we're all breathing a sigh of relief now that the Open is over. I am Rory McKernan along with Pat Sherwood, and Pat, a little bit of deja vu here, right? 12.5 happens to be the last workout from last year, 11.6.
Interesting, right? And yes, what's more quintessentially CrossFit than some thrusters and some pull-ups, you know? So a lot of us found CrossFit that way, and we got the opportunity to do it again.
You seem less than enthusiastic about this workout. More on that later, perhaps. CrossFit Games director Dave Castro touched on the thinking behind this move at the CrossFit Tour in Texas last weekend. Let's have a listen to Dave.
A lot of people hemmed and hawed when they saw that 12.5 was 11.6, but it's just like a benchmark. It's just like going into your gym and doing Fran, but now we're doing it on a global scale. So we can compare results across the community from last year, the community this year, and I can see, has Rich made any improvement? Has Dan made any improvement overall?
So there you have it from Dave Castro, but Pat, you still weren't really a big fan of this move.
Yeah, well, I mean, first of all, yes, amazing performances, right? You know, almost 2 Frans in 7 minutes. But I think what made me just less than stoked when it came out was, well, that's what makes a benchmark so cool is you know what you've done. You can try to repeat and best your performance. And I remembered a year ago how much this thing just hurt me. And the thought of doing that again just, I almost couldn't take it.
You didn't want to go back to that place.
I did not.
But you did.
I did.
Pat Sherwood in 2012 smokes Pat Sherwood from 2011 by what, like 18 reps?
18 reps, yeah, I was happier. So, you know, retested, fitter, stronger a year later. So CrossFit, thank you.
Solid performance,
yes.
Brother. So with the finishing of the Open, the CrossFit Games have entered phase 2. We're going from the all-inclusive Open with over 68,000 participants to the regionals, just 2,040 individual competitors, 510 teams. That number, of course, will get even smaller in July at the Games. It's been an interesting 5 weeks to say the least. You're a programming guy. Let's briefly revisit these last 5 weeks.
Yeah, you know, we can look back with the crystal ball now. We had 5 workouts, we had 2 single modalities, we had 2 triplets, and we had a couplet. And with everything from the simplest movement you can do with your body, just get on the ground and get back up, to the most complicated thing you can do with a barbell, up to and including 210 pounds for reps if you were fit enough to get there, and high skill movements like muscle-ups as well, so very well-rounded.
Good. So we knew the numbers were jaw-dropping, 68,000 people participating, but the increase in the level of competition is absolutely astonishing. If you're looking for a great example, look no further than Rob Orlando.
Yeah, Rob Orlando, I mean, very well-known competitor, been to the Games 3 times. In 2010, he won the Northeast Regional. 2011, he took 3rd in the Northeast Regional. And now he's 56th in his region and just sneaking into the regionals by 4 spots, so it's amazing.
Josh Everett, a household name in CrossFit. He was in the 2007 CrossFit Games 3rd place. 2008, he gets 2nd place, right? So he moves up the podium 2 spots. 3-time Games veteran. He's not even qualifying this year in Southern California. So Josh finishes in, what was it, at 95th, I think.
Yeah, and same deal with Mike G. I mean, I know this guy personally, worked with him for years. I've seen him crush competitors at workouts, been to the Games 3 times. This year, he's coming out of his region as far as the Open goes in 92nd place, so.
Mind-blowing.
Shocking.
Mind-blowing.
Yes.
Yeah, so and worthy to note, these guys aren't just letting themselves go.
No.
It's not like they got unfit. They actually all did better on 12.5 than they did on 11.6. So they're still hitting PRs.
Amazing.
And still the tide is rising so rapidly that they're getting left behind.
You know, the level of competition, the baseline fitness is just up and up and up, and every year you need to be even more amazing than you were last year, or you're not even going to make it to regionals.
Let's talk about 12.5, this workout. I was in Texas this last weekend, got to see Rich Froning throw down head-to-head with Dan Bailey. Arguably the most amazing CrossFit experience that I've had so far as competition is concerned. However, Rich, amazing performance, didn't take the top spot in this workout.
No, top spot, Danny Henry with 163 reps on this workout. That is unbelievable, like almost literally unbelievable. There's no video, and that's literally a crying shame.
You know, it's here's the deal. It's, for me, the self-reported stats don't measure up. I'm not calling Danny out. They've actually talked to the athlete. We've talked to the affiliate. It stands. It's amazing, but it is this outlier, and it's kind of crazy when you look at the past week's performances.
I don't know, unless his stats aren't updated on the game site. I don't know, but he lists a 330 Fran. That's at 95 pounds, not 100, and with regular pull-ups, not chest to bar, and he's doing 2 Frans with chest to bar and 100 pounds in about 7 minutes. So I mean, it boggles my mind.
And unfortunately, we will not be able to see Danny Henry at the regionals. Did not qualify. Hopefully, we'll get a video maybe in the future. Ryan Fisher, second place from SoCal.
Yes, nipping at his heels, 162 reps, and this guy apparently is a Fran ninja. A sub 2 is what he's reporting for his Fran time.
So it would certainly play to his strengths in this
Exactly.
workout here. I rubbed this in your face earlier, but I was actually in Texas this last weekend, got to see Rich Froning do these 161 reps. To say that it was amazing, inspiring, spine-tingling is an understatement.
Thank you for bringing up my jealousy once again. Appreciate it.
So a third place finish in the workout, but the man is untouchable in the open competition.
Yes, he is currently your winner after the Open is over. 41 points. He won 2 workouts. He had the top 3 in 2 other finishes, and he wins the Open by a 103-point margin. No one's been this heavily favored going into regionals ever.
Here's what I love about the open competition. Second and third place, both new names. So last year we had Dan Bailey, who we'd seen at regionals before, but he kind of came out of nowhere and all of a sudden he was a household name when he wins the Open.
Right.
So let's talk about second place, Sean Thompson from Philly.
Yeah, 144 points. This guy out of Philly, quote from him I absolutely love. When I work out, I don't care if I'm going to black out or whatever. I'm going to go until that clock stops. Like, all right, there you go. You're second. Good job.
And I believe it from what I've seen of this kid
Absolutely,
in this
yeah.
competition. So stoked to see him at regionals. Third place is Kenneth Leverage, 197 points. He's from SoCal as well, so that SoCal regional just stacking up, man. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how that plays out.
Absolutely. And coming in at 4th place, your winner from last year, Dan Bailey, 251 points. So not exactly breathing down Rich's neck, but you're top 4 in the world right now.
5th place, Orlando Trejo from Peru. I love it. We see somebody strong from Latin America. And I think that Trejo is going to obviously go to the distance at regionals. Cannot wait to see what happens at the games.
Yeah, we'll see. What's super cool about Orlando and spots 2 and 3 is there's a lot of new names there in the top 5.
No doubt. What's interesting to me also, who's not represented in this top of the worldwide leaderboard standing? So you got Graham Holmberg, 108th place. You got Chris Spieler, who's in the mid-30s.
Matt Chan's in there.
Right. So is that relevant? Does it matter? Is that a statement of their fitness, or what's going on?
I have to say no, and I just mentioned Chan, and I'll bring him back up now. When he was on the show previously, he mentioned that for a lot of these athletes, these top-level athletes, the Open is just one of the workouts they happen to be doing that week to get to regionals, to get to game, keep their eye on the prize. That is Graham Holmberg. His performances in the Open have never been indicative of how amazing he does later on, so I don't think we can, no one's out of it yet.
You can't count anybody out before regionals. This is where the game time really begins. 2 athletes went at it at a local box. Have I mentioned this yet?
I don't know.
Small town in Texas, CrossFit Alito. We were there for the action when Dan Bailey and Rich Froning went face-to-face, head-to-head on 12.5. This was really the spirit of the Open in a nutshell for me. You got to see these guys throwing down in the same kind of atmosphere that I throw down in, right? It wasn't under the regional lights. It wasn't under the games lights. We'll be right back with the women's results. Enjoy the footage of Rich and Dan on Workout 12.5.
The CrossFit Games Update is brought to you by GNC.
Thank you guys all for coming down to Texas. Thank you for having us. Thank you for hosting us. 4 weeks done, 5th week of the competition, and it's the final workout. Dan Bailey, first place last year in the Worldwide Open. Rich basically has the victory for the Open sealed. He's won 3 out of the 5 workouts already. 159 right now in the world is the top score. Will we see something higher? If we're gonna see something higher, it's gonna come it's gonna come from here, from Fort Worth, Texas, right now.
we're going to go head-to-head with it. We've been pushing each other for the past 2 months in Rich's garage and over at the APC, and that's kind of how we like to do it, and that's how we get the best out of each other. So it's going to be a fun workout.
Earlier this week, you start thinking about it. You get the butterflies. You got to calm yourself down. So I mean, it's always there. I was just talking to him earlier. It's like sometimes you're like, why do I do this? It's miserable. Like, leading up to it, after it is fun, but leading up to it, you're like, this is terrible.
It can't be balls to the wall, at least for me. 7 minutes is too long to do that, especially with just 2 movements. You need to throw a third movement in there, maybe you can go a little bit harder, but you're just bouncing back and forth between 2 things. You just kind of stay relaxed and keep moving.
We both said at the beginning we'll do it once and be done with it. Other than the Arnold, we had to do the second one twice. But other than that, it's just kind of one and done. But yeah, of course it matters. I want to be up there, especially if I've been there for 4 weeks. I want to finish it out.
You got it. Fight for it. 18, 19, 20. One more. 21. Get on the bar. 12. 13, no, 14, good. The highest score up until this point was 159. Rich just got 162. He's a man. Yeah. Proud of you, brother. 156 for Dan Bailey. Dan made an 8-rep improvement from last year. Thank you guys. Thank you everyone. Thank these guys. We're done.
Welcome back. Women's 12.5. We've come to expect it. I don't know why I'm surprised, but it was just spectacular, maybe even more so than the men. Number one in this workout, Camille LeBlanc-Bazinet.
She dominated this workout. She's been doing well the entire time, but 173 reps on 12.5 is 180 reps would be 2 full Frans in 7 minutes, going up each round with chest to bar pull-ups. So she crushed it. She dominated.
That actually puts it into good perspective. 2 Frans in 7 minutes. That's disgusting.
Yes.
Second place, Talina Fortunato. We've heard this name before.
Yes, and if that name sounds familiar, it's because she did a 2-minute and 26-second Fran, which is, as far as I know, it's the fastest women's Fran I've ever heard of.
Third place, the doctor, Julie Fouché.
Yes, 154 reps. We've heard Julie's name again week after week after week. She's serious this year. She wants to be on that podium. I think she's going to be.
Back with a vengeance, even with all the other things she has going on in her life, which is just truly amazing. Big surprise for me here, Kristen Clever. What happened? Her score on the first couple workouts, she wins 3 of 5 workouts in the entire competition. Her other one, she's in the top 10, but here's the only one where she's fallen outside of the top 10, and she's actually 7 reps worse than she was at this workout last year. So I have to ask you, put you on the spot here a little bit. Does Kristen, I hate to use the word sandbag. I know Kristen's not a sandbagger, but did she know that her score was good enough to get her to advance? Or did she just get beat?
Well, 7 reps less. I have a hard time thinking that she's not as fit as she was last year. I think Kristen has one gear. I think she's a competitor. I think she always goes hard. I don't think she knows how to just slide into regionals. So I think I have to say, I think she just got beat in this workout. It happens. Yeah. Happens to the best of us.
It does, and I think that I've been so conditioned. I've been waiting. Okay, when's Kristen Clever's top score going to come up?
Right, exactly.
That I was waiting for her. So, maybe Kristen did just get beat. Let's take it though with a grain of salt.
Sure.
Even though she got beat in this workout by leaps and bounds, Kristen is our overall female winner for the Open for a 2nd year in a row.
Oh, absolutely. Kristen Clever remains on top, like you said, 2 years in a row. She has just 26 points, which is unbelievable. That is the lowest combined point total, male or female. It doesn't matter. No one's near her.
Second place, Julie Fouché.
Julie Fouché, again, we just mentioned her a second ago. She's nipping on Kristen's heels, and she is coming in right now with 37 points. So they look like the battle this year. The old, Annie T. Kristen. It might be Julie and Kristen this year.
I'm excited to see what happens with those two, as a matter of fact. But third place, tied last year with Kristen for first place. That's where Annie T is sitting after all 5 workouts.
Yes, 107 points, which, I mean, at the end of the Open, she's the 3rd fittest woman in the world currently after the Open. So she's doing fantastic, but you have to wonder, that's a big difference between her points and Kristen's points. So is Kristen that much ahead of her this year, or did she actually just play it smart and go, hey, no need to kill myself, I'm going to get to regionals, get to the games?
That's just it. We mentioned it with the men. She's good enough to absolutely dominate Europe at this point in time. So when she gets to the regionals is maybe when her real competition starts. 4th place, we spoke to her last week, Emily Bridgers.
Yeah, we just got to know her recently, 115 points. And Emily, you're the whole point of why we do the Open, right? Is to learn these new names, get people exposure to the community, and she's going to be somebody that's everyone's going to be watching during regionals. So she's an exciting athlete.
How about the 1st place finisher from 12.5? She ends the competition in 5th overall, Camille LeBlanc-Bazinet.
Yes, 116 points. I mean, what else can you say? She's just a super consistent athlete.
So some top names from past years, not necessarily in the overall standings doing fantastic, but interesting to see that they're doing well in their respective regions. Let's start with Katie Motter-Henniger.
Absolutely love Katie. 2008 Games champion, lady side of the house, just a competitor through and through, played in the WNBA, and she's sitting in 32nd in the Central East, so she's doing very well.
Yeah, because she kind of sneaks in under the radar, but people forget she played professional basketball and just a competitor through and through.
She does not like to lose, period.
She does not like to lose. So the very next year, 2009 champ, Tanya Wagner's back.
Tanya Wagner, she's representing the Mid-Atlantic region. She's sitting in 14th place after taking a couple years off to have a baby, so again, couple-year break, sitting in 14th, she's doing great.
Yeah. What I love to see about this women's leaderboard, very well-rounded. We got 3 athletes from outside the U.S., 1 European, 2 Canadians, SoCal, NorCal, all looking strong. We got 2 athletes each in the top 10 from the East Coast, along with the Midwest, all represented. So the regional competitions across the continent are going to be amazing.
For sure.
There you have it, the elite athletes that will be moving on to the next stage of competition. For the rest of us, we're now transitioning from competitor to spectator. When we come back, a salute to all of the athletes of the 2012 CrossFit Games Open.
The regionals are the 2nd stage of the CrossFit Games season. Over the course of 3 days, athletes will perform a series of brutal workouts to prove their fitness. At the end of the weekend, no more than 3 men, 3 women, and 3 teams from each region are invited to the 2012 Reebok CrossFit Games. The programming will be different than 2011, but the workouts are the same across all regions, enabling fans to compare their favorite athletes from around the world. The regionals are reminiscent of the ranch in Aromas, where the same crowds who settled into the dirt hillside with a beer and a love for CrossFit come out to experience the festival atmosphere. With the tremendous growth of CrossFit around the world, the competition has gotten tougher each year. Some regionals are now tougher than the games were just a few years ago. The athletes and fans now know it's no small feat to make it anywhere near the podium. For the elite few who reach that level, the reward is one final test. The 2012 Reebok CrossFit Games.
Every year, CrossFit invites the entire world to prove their fitness. Fitness is about real-world capacity. How much can you do and in what time? Do more work faster and you're fitter. Fitness is also about being ready for anything. Unlike most sports where you train for a very specific goal, CrossFit requires you to prepare for the unknown and the unknowable. The events are announced shortly before the competition begins, so there's no way to practice for the exact workouts. That makes unknown workouts much better tests of fitness. CrossFit has redefined what it means to be fit, and in so doing, flipped a long-revered paradigm on its head. In identical fashion, the CrossFit Games Open has redefined how sport is tested. Never before has a test been inclusive enough in scope to reach the corners of the earth, and progressively exclusive enough to identify from which one of those corners the fittest man and woman will emerge. For 5 weeks of competition, 68,000 people with drastically different circumstances and life stories from around the world came together as a community, individuals with a shared set of beliefs and value systems. Top-level athletes, grandparents, college students, children, coaches, lawyers, firefighters, and veterans. The list goes on. For most of them, the Open was their CrossFit Games. The commonality? All chose competition to make themselves better, to attain a higher level, to prove their fitness. For all, there was a shared notion that within competition lies a missing piece to a formula we lack in our day-to-day lives, a gateway to acquiring that most critical element in training, intensity. Whether first in the world or last on the leaderboard, we are all better for having competed.
It was great. It's just an opportunity to compete against other people in your box and against yourself.
You gotta test yourself out, you know, just reality check time.
Kind of gives me a place to be competitive.
I always wanted to try, and this time I finally did, so it was fun.
It's just a great experience to learn about yourself. The chance to get to compete and and test yourself against others is something that I don't think I'll ever forget, and look forward to doing it again next year.
Watch out next year.